Welcome, everybody. We are here today to represent the University of North Texas. My name is Rayanne Nasser.
I'm Seth Williams.
And I'm Cassandra Keenan. The recommended supply chain strategy for Footskinz. The supply chain strategy is consistent with the corporate philosophy. It maintains a California warehouse, uses a fulfillment center in New Jersey using 3PL, and it creates a brand identity as a part of the overall marketing strategy to capture growth. Our recommended supply chain for Footskinz increases capacity, captures the growth potential, minimizes costs, improves flexibility, reduces inventory, and mitigates risk. The following methodologies were used: a spreadsheet analysis, linear programming, the center of gravity analysis, and qualitative analysis. The marketing analysis that we use sticks true to Footskinz corporate philosophy, serving the athletic market that creates a unique product.
We wanted to also go ahead and do a corporate evaluation of Footskinz and assess the business challenges that they're currently facing, which include trying to meet the growing demand with the decrease in supply that has occurred as a result of the ongoing pandemic. We also wanted to address the ability to deliver orders in a timely manner, compounded by the warehouse capacity issues, has also created a big challenge for the company. We wanted to address these 5 alternatives to help increase the warehouse capacity. The first alternative would be to expand our current fulfillment center in California. Our next alternatives can include using one or more fulfillment center in the following locations: Savannah, Chicago, or New Jersey. And our 5th and final alternative would be to go with an online fulfillment center, Webnet. After considering all the alternatives, we decided to recommend expanding by opening a second fulfillment center in New Jersey, which will help alleviate the pressure of a single center in California. This approach is made to assist in increasing warehouse capacity, capturing the growth potential, and help fulfill the increasing demand of the product.
So first, we want to start off with our cost analysis for a competing Footskinz strategy. And so we took into 3 different factors into account. So number 1, our lead time. And so that takes into account our inbound as well as our average outbound. Number 2, our total cost. That takes into account our inbound, our warehouse, as well as our outbound, in addition to our percentage of total cost of lost sales. So our third one is our potential sales. And so as you can see, our New Jersey option being the last one shows that it has a minimal cost. Like I want to point out that the Los Angeles one, although has a lower cost, taking into account the revenue that's generated by the potential sales, will show that the New Jersey one is the more profitable option.
Here we want to look at the different routes that can be taken to get to each one of our centers. When looking at the Los Angeles Fulfillment Center and the Chicago Center, you can see that they both utilize the same port in Long Beach, while the centers in Savannah and New Jersey utilize an individual port for each center, which will help alleviate the pressure on going just through Long Beach like the Chicago Center and the Long Beach Center would. So adding that initial port in either Savannah or New Jersey make those better options, which will help decrease the lead time in delivering product.
So for our first model, we use a spreadsheet analysis, and this was used to calculate the total costs on the slide before. And so this takes into account our inbound costs, our warehouse costs, as well as our outbound costs. Starting with our inbound costs, we have the cost per container, which is given to us, and with the addition to our research for the customs tariff. So next one being our warehouse, we have the facility and the overhead expense, which is given, and we calculate the labor expense as well as the holding costs. And then lastly, we have our outbound costs. That takes into account our potential sales, the sales and the rate by state, by zone, using the summation of each state to calculate our total outbound cost. And then we also use a spreadsheet analysis for the alternative fulfillment centers. And so this is similar to the California one, with the exception that the warehouse uses the proposed variable costs that are given to us by the vendors. So using this model, spreadsheet analysis, we found that the New Jersey one was the most optimal solution. For our second model, we use a center of gravity analysis. So it's important to consider 2 things. 1, that it's dependent only on demand. 2, the weight does not consider the cost. So using this analysis, we were able to determine that the optimal fulfillment center location would be somewhere in Ohio, which is closest to the Chicago location. Most importantly, the New Jersey one being following as the second. So Taking into account the cost with this, since this only takes into account demand, the Jersey one would be the more optimal solution. For a third model, we used a linear programming and a transshipment model using the following inputs. So we had our unit costs or rates, our percentage of lost sales, and our warehouse variable costs. And so taking into account per state, per alternative, we were able to determine those costs. And so using that as well as the fixed costs, the capacity constraints, demand, transshipment costs as inputs, as well as the constraints, we were able to produce an optimal solution that showed that the Los Angeles and the New Jersey option were the most optimal.
Fourth and lastly, we did a qualitative analysis using the following factors: reliability, flexibility, shipping time, inventory risk, environmental, and opportunity for growth. Flexibility being the highest because it shows how resilient the supply chain can be. And environmental with 5% being the lowest because it doesn't have that much effect on the supply chain. Our recommendation for California and New Jersey yielded the highest qualitative score.
When looking at our Webnet online supply chain strategy alternative, it will be the easiest to implement and incur the lowest amount of cost. But when you look at it from a corporate philosophy standpoint, it doesn't align. And it also takes away from the brand identity when you dilute it and have it accessible online. We propose to reject this strategy because it just does not align with our corporate philosophy. When establishing our brand identity, we wanted to use the ACRA model that is comprised of these three components: the essence, the core, and the extended identity. The essence is what the company stands for, which is making precision socks for high performers. And this product is made to be non-commodity and high-end and targets the athletic market. At our core, we wanted to be a company that makes custom socks that fit all different shapes and sizes. Our extended identity is to create a product that is comfortable and can be used by anyone.
So we also want to do a risk management matrix on our alternatives. And so to calculate our risk, we use the likelihood and the consequence to calculate our overall risk per scenario. So some of the scenarios that we consider include the rising container costs, the truck driver shortage, COVID variant resurgence, natural disasters, terrorism, threat to new competitors, risk of a strike, blockages of the Suez Canal. And so just want to point out, these all apply to the New Jersey option, especially the blockage of the Suez Canal.
Let's take a closer look. These are our top three most important factors: the rising container cost and shortage, the truck driver shortage, and the COVID variant resurgent. These scenarios pose the highest risk.
And so analyzing the top two risks being the container costs and the truck driver shortage, we can see that using the graphical representation on the left-hand side, that worldwide we can see that the global container costs are rising. And so one thing we do want to point out is that the West Coast container costs are increasing at a higher rate than the East Coast container costs. And so making our New Jersey ones stand, so more optimal compared to the other alternatives. Also for the truck driver shortage, we can see that the truck utilization has dropped and then increased due to the COVID pandemic, as well as the labor for those jobs. So we can see that the utilization is increasing at a faster rate than the labor, causing a truck driver shortage.
COVID is currently affecting the supply chain. As you can see, California and New Jersey are both states that are red, and they're both high of COVID cases. But I'd like to point out that California has a high number of COVID cases, while New Jersey has a low number of COVID cases.
In conclusion, we wanted to reiterate our recommendations, which include having a supply chain strategy consistent with our corporate philosophy, maintaining our California warehouse, using a fulfillment center in New Jersey, creating brand identity as a part of overall marketing strategy to capture our potential growth. These recommendations all take into consideration increasing the capacity, capturing the growth potential, minimizing the cost, improving the flexibility, and reducing the inventory, as well as mitigating the risk.
Thank you for your time, and we look forward to hearing back.
Thank you.
Thank you.